And welcome to episode 5 of the Podriplegics podcast. Today we have some fantastic stuff. We have a guest in studio, Miss Brittany Johnson, who was Miss Congeniality
2020.
2020. Hey.
Hey.
I like it. We got a guest in the studio. We got Nina still in the studio. Mr. Eric Kenning in the studio. Myself, Mr. SDH, Sean Dallas Hall. Donnie's out of his element today. He doesn't know what we're talking about. He stayed home just because he didn't want to hear me tell him he was out of his element 50 times. But today we have some very important things we're talking about today. We're going to be doing some opiate stuff. That's what me and
we're
Brittany
doing
are
opiate
here.
stuff?
Yeah.
Oh.
You don't see that on the table?
Oh, dang.
Yeah.
I thought that was sugar.
Oh, the listeners can't see that. Okay, sorry. Never mind. Yeah, we're going to be talking about the opiate crisis, opiate addiction. How has it affected myself and Miss Johnson? We're both recovering addicts. Congratulations, by the way.
Thank you.
Congratulations. We're both recovering addicts, so we're both we're going to give you a little bit of our story. But before we get into any of that, I got to deal with this stupid piece of paper here. It's called housekeeping items. All right. Podriplegics podcast is sponsored by Arizona Spinal Association Injury Cord of Disabilities of Individuals. People who have many. Oh, that's not it?
No.
Oh.
No.
What is it? My paper's wrong. You wrote it wrong.
It's Arizona Spinal Cord Injury Association.
Oh, that's right. Arizona Spinal Cord Injury Association is our sponsor. That is azspinal.com. And you can reach Eric Kenning at any time, anywhere at 602-507-4209. Call him with any concerns you have. Any issues you have with me, call Eric. Any issues you have with anything else, call Eric. Please. That's 602-507-4209. This podcast can be found on YouTube, azspinal.org//podcast. Also on Facebook, Arizona Spinal Cord Injury Friends Group. You can find us on Spotify. You can find us on iTunes.
Also, Google Music. We just got that.
Google Music.
And we're trying to get on iHeartRadio.
And we will soon be on iHeartRadio if Eric has anything to do with it.
That's right. And I do.
Make it happen.
I'm going to make it happen.
And I tell you, we appreciate you listening. If you could do us one favor, that's just hit like, hit subscribe, leave a comment. We would love to answer any questions that you have. Don, Eric, and myself. Don's out. Donnie's out of his element today, but otherwise, Don, Eric, and myself have 100+ years of living with a disability. That's a lot. That's a lot of years.
That's a lot of years.
That's a lot of useful information, a lot of tricks of the trade that we learned throughout the way. So,
Brittany,
any questions you have?
How many years for you?
10.
10 years. Okay, so
10 years for Brittany.
Yeah.
So we got 10 there. Okay.
So any questions you have, we probably have been through it or know somebody who has, and we can try to put you in the right place.
Or we're going to go through it tomorrow, so
Yeah, or we'll figure it out. If we can't answer it, we'll find somebody who can, right?
Yeah, if you listen to the last episode, you may notice a trend here. We're still alive.
Barely. Speak for yourself. Yeah, barely. But also, I need to tell you as a disclaimer, we are not, I repeat, we are not medical professionals. So if you are having a medical issue, please contact your doctor or call 911.
Now, have you ever played one on TV?
Twice.
Okay, so you've actually been a medical professional on TV as an actor.
No, I don't know. I don't act. I don't act.
Oh, well, okay, forget it then.
Yeah, you boned that one, Eric.
Oh, wait a minute. I got to do it.
So, like I said, we are not medical professionals. I am not House. If you're having medical issues, please contact your doctor or call 911. Also, forewarning.
Oh, no.
This episode could get very in depth for multiple reasons. We are talking about opiates. We are talking about drug abuse. We are talking about addiction. I also have a very big problem with my mature language. Okay, so if you're not up for that, then please skip to the next one or listen to number 4 again. You know?
Yeah,
I mean,
number 4 is pretty good.
Number
I
4
don't
was
think
fantastic.
I think we only had like one, maybe.
Yeah, who knows?
I think that was at the end too. I think you just put it in there just for.
I had to put one in there. You know, I can't let my listeners down.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, there's going to be mature language and content on this episode.
Oh yeah.
Also, please don't sue us.
No suing.
If you're going to sue anybody, again, you can contact Eric Kenning.
Really?
602-507-4209 at azspinal.org.
Why?
He'll answer your questions, and you can sue him.
Oh my goodness.
And from here on out, the show will start with Mr. Eric Kenning and news.
All right. Well,
What, you don't got a news button?
no, I'm getting it. Sorry.
Oh, look. Oh, slipping. Nerd alert. Nerd alert. Nerd alert. That was a sample of that.
Yep. Sorry about that. Well, yeah, I do have some news. Believe it or not, couple different things. The feds weigh in on special ed Medicaid concerns over coronavirus. As coronavirus spreads across the U.S., federal officials are clarifying how schools and state Medicaid agencies should address the needs of those with disabilities. So after reading that article, what I found out is if the school is going to provide education to students online, they need to also offer that to people with special ed, in special ed. So basically, if regular ed is getting it, special ed needs to get it too. So it's one of those, but it's a concern because there's no actual law that states they have to do it. But ideally, if they do it, they have to, do it for special ed.
It's fair to me.
Right? You would think. It's just common sense.
Right.
It makes sense.
I come back to the
Why
same...
exclude them?
Right, I come back to the same thing. It's 2020. Why are we not on the same equal playing field as everybody else?
Now, my wife, she is a special ed teacher, and some of the concerns she
God
told
bless her
me.
heart.
I know, right? I married a saint. I really did. Don't tell her
I
I
don't
said
know how
that.
what happened. How did what happened? I mean, you
It was my arms, really. I think she fell in love with the arms. She wants to keep one if I die before. She wants to actually have my arm stuffed like
it
a pillow.
role play situation there? A little like you're the wizard, I'm the fairy type of thing.
No.
Nerd alert! Nerd alert! Nerd alert! Nerd alert! I'm just teasing you. You know I'm always teasing you.
So no, but one of her concerns is some parents don't even have computers for their children, and when you're dealing with people who have kids who have autism, which her class is all autism, how are you going to keep their attention? How are you going to help them to regulate over the internet? That's going to be a real difficult issue, and so I don't know. There's a lot of concerns around that.
And then the parents will have to find the time to even homeschool them to do that.
Yeah, and they got to work.
That's very time consuming.
Oh yeah, I mean we're in a difficult situation all around. I mean it's whether you have someone who has a special ed, special needs or not. We're in a difficult situation all around because just ordinary, kids are having to deal with the same stuff.
Yeah, and they just called state of emergency here in Phoenix.
Shutting everything down.
Everything closes today at 8 p.m.
We're all going to eat canned beans, my friend. Canned beans.
Ramen noodles it is.
Oh, it's going to be
Soak
fun.
it up.
Yep. Except for we're not going to be using toilet paper because somebody took it all.
I don't know what you guys are going to be eating, but I have filet mignon in my freezer.
Hey now.
I think I know where I'm
Come
going
on.
for.
I'm going to Brittany's house.
Yep, I think Brittany.
Steaks.
I think we're gonna have a party at her place.
Us and the dog.
Dang.
Yeah, they caught the guy. You see that guy that had
Yeah.
17,700. He bought 17,700 some hand sanitizer things.
Are you serious?
And he was trying to sell them on Amazon, like,
He
triple,
was.
quadruple the price. They shut him down.
$40-$50.
Made him donate it.
That's awesome.
Sweet burn.
He deserves it.
It doesn't matter. He had probably already made about $80,000 to $100,000 before they even caught up to him.
Well, and the thing is, that's illegal. Price gouging is illegal. If you report him, I mean, that's a $10,000 fine. That's all kinds of crazy.
But nobody
Making
reported him.
100,
It took a minute for the Attorney
fine.
General to catch up to him. So
Yeah. But I
That's
mean,
just
they
sad.
deserve it. I mean, those people that do that, they make other people's life miserable. Let me move on. So police officers, police are offering stickers for homes to alert first responders about disabilities. So the stickers can be placed on the outside of a home or vehicle to identify that an occupant has autism or other special needs and help avert misunderstandings in the event of an emergency. So
This happens a lot with with the deaf community.
yeah. But it's a two-sided coin on there. Do you want everyone who passes by your house to know that
right.
you're deaf,
Right.
because they could take advantage of that,
Absolutely.
So it's a two-edged coin on that one. I was thinking when they came through a door, there's a
Two-edged?
sign, two-sided coin. Sorry.
Just check.
No, it could have two edges. Who knows? It could be a square coin. I don't know.
Square coins.
You never
I
know.
like this. I like where we're going.
Let's redo the whole coin system right now, man. We're gonna redo
We're gonna
this.
change it up. We need square coins.
Yeah,
Why'd they go with the circle in the first place?
yeah, I know, right?
Right?
Probably easier to do. I don't know.
Do what with?
I don't know. They
It
should
was
put.
something about the weight.
Well, it's always the
yeah.
weight.
Yeah.
But not anymore. They don't use weight. They don't base it on the weight anymore. It used
Right.
to be based on the weight of whatever the metal was. That's how much.
So
it
now,
was
if I
worth,
make a
right?
tinfoil dime, I'm good to go.
I know people who have figured out ways to use vending machines with
Really?
homemade items.
Slugs.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's back from my day, man.
yeah, man.
Yeah,
I like it.
yeah. You just have the right size,
Ingenuity, my friend.
right? You just gotta have the same width and the same. Yeah.
I'm all for it. Progress. This is progress we're talking here.
Right.
Sorry, I'll let you finish what you were
No,
saying. I cut you off.
they're doing this in Minnesota. One of the things that's good is, again, you're right, miscommunication. Because if someone has autism, they could be shown as aggressive or suspect, like they're suspect of doing something. So when emergency response teams come there and they don't know this, automatically it can turn into it can escalate to a situation. And so it can be a real big deal. And deaf, of course, if they don't know sign language, it can be very hard to, if the lady's trying to say, my mother had a heart attack or something, then, how's that, if there's no one there that understands, what are they going to do? Unless she writes it out.
Right.
So, yeah, so that's
It's good.
so, okay.
I think that's an overall positive thing.
Yeah. I think some of the changes that are going to come about are coming about are not bad. At least there's attempts being made to make it better.
Sure.
They see where things are failing and they're trying to work with it.
Well, I mean,
So
I don't know about that.
so the next thing is the coronavirus brings added worries for people with disabilities. So this as everything is shutting down, people with disabilities that need caregivers, that need added support from added services. I mean, what does that look like? Because the governor is shutting down everything. We got restaurants shutting down. We got businesses shutting down. I mean, I can't even look at you across the table and, that's going to be bad too. I mean, serious, it's getting really, really crazy out there. And so the discussion around that is the article discusses, what's going to happen, because they're doing some pretty hard line here, like you can't go do this. The government says this. And, there's these situations that are needed regardless. Nurses at this point are saints. I mean, good Lord, they're in the hospitals, they're working. The potential for them to catch this is ridiculous. No matter how much you sanitize, person just needs to cough in their direction, right? But the nurses, they still get up there and they still do it. And same with caregivers. You know, they still understand that there's a need, because without that caregiver, that person's probably gonna really suffer.
So for me, this is a issue that I've been worried about and or tackling for the last, I don't know, probably 10 to 14 days. For me, I have nurses that work for me, but they also work at hospitals. All right, so I'm a very susceptible person to this disease or this virus.
Yeah.
Right? And they're working in a hospital, so they are coming in contact with it, and then they come to my home.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you protect yourself with that barrier there?
Right.
Right? So it's a very difficult thing to try to walk that tight line of like, okay, well, I need a nurse, right? I can't hire new nurses and say, oh, sorry, you can't work until this thing's over because you work at a hospital, because any nurse you're going to hire pretty much works at a hospital. Right? I mean, so it's a very worrisome thing for me. I've been in isolation now for at least, 7 to 8, maybe almost going on 9 days now.
Yeah, that's a long time too.
Yeah, you're telling this guy.
Yeah.
And
you're a guy who gets out all the time.
I can't stand it. I'm going nuts.
You got to get into Skyrim, man.
Oh, I'm
you
going
gotta
nuts. Fortnite. Fortnite. I've been playing 4 hours of Fortnite a day, but
you know what?
That's
I'm
not a whole
going to load up Fortnite into my computer this weekend. Let's game it on.
I like it. I like where that's headed.
Yeah, I'm gonna find your gaming tag. We're gonna do it.
But it's a very it's a very real thing for somebody who has nurses and caregivers, right? I mean, anybody who is in a hospital setting, they're susceptible to being around it, whether they know they're around it or not, whether they wash their hands or not, right? Whether they wear face masks or not, right? We don't know all about this virus. We don't know everything about this virus.
By the way, I heard the face masks are only good for like 30 minutes.
Nina, let's ask Nina.
Nina, I mean, is that true? The face masks only really cover like 30 minutes worth of like protection from exposure?
I feel like there's been a lot of, unanswered questions, a lot of, well, which face masks do you really use? Because now they're having us use the N95 respirators, which you use for TB. And so those are like a lot thicker. I actually haven't had to take care of a COVID patient yet. I know that we have them in the hospital right now, so I've seen them around. They have the rooms set up. They're isolation rooms, negative pressure rooms, so they're treating it almost like TB.
Wow.
But the regular little mask, I honestly don't know how effective that they are at all.
And I mean, I got to tell you, I mean, I've been looking. And there seems to be like conflicting information, lack of true information about what this thing actually does.
I hear it doesn't help you from contracting it. I hear that it only helps for somebody who has it to limit the spread.
Wow. So we're just trying to stop.
So I've been trying to get to be honest with you, I'm going a little overboard here, but I've been trying to get like actual full face gas masks. I've been looking everywhere to order these.
Like
full face. I mean, like straight military full face, two filters on each side, tinted eyes.
I'm sorry, I'm laughing.
Tinted eyes,
hazmat suit.
Straight like we're going into war. I'm wearing a gas mask type of thing. I've been looking for them, and you can't get them. I think the earliest shipping I found on any mask, and that even goes to some of the stuff that you were talking about, the 95 ones. The 95 ones are like the lowest grade ones that you can get to help you with this virus.
Aren't those with like hazard cleanup stuff?
No, you can spray paint with them. It's for people who like spray paint, people who do industrial
like
paint.
Like at Home Depot, you could get those.
Good luck.
Man,
good luck.
The world is turned on its head.
Good luck, man.
I'm serious.
So the earliest shipping date that I found was April 22nd.
Wow.
No kidding. Are you willing to stay in your apartment that long?
I don't live in an apartment, number one.
Oh, in a house, wherever.
Thank you. Homeowner, by the way.
Ooh, ooh.
Nice.
Say that again. Yeah, but I'm going to have to. I don't have any. Look, I even got so much BS and so much flack about even coming down here to do this.
Really?
Yeah, because, I mean, people around me, family, friends, they're
Yeah.
worried. They don't want you to go places because they know that all it takes is to be in contact with one person.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the next thing you know, you could catch pneumonia. Next thing you know, you're out. You're gone.
Well, the way I look at it too is, I came to this a long time ago. Either I get to live my life or I'm not going to live my
Thank
life.
Mhm.
And Shawn, I gotta
Preach.
support you on this, man. I'm
Preach.
sorry because, I've been through some hellish situations. I've been through some really difficult situations, and you know what? There's someone that wants me alive. That's all there's to it. I mean, there's something about what's going on in my life that I'm here to do, and it just seems like, hey, I'm just going to do what I'm going to do and stop. And the thing I'm not going to do is I'm not going to be scared. I need to go out and live my life, and for whatever this is, because this meaning that I get out of doing this means more to me than catching the virus.
Yeah,
I mean,
I'm
that's
with
just my perspective.
I'm with you. I think that for me, I want to be as safe as I can with this at all times,
Yeah,
just in case.
I'm washing my
But
hands
I'm
all the time.
also not going to avoid living my life for 2, 3, 4, 5. Who knows how many months, right? I mean,
Oh,
you
yeah.
don't know.
Yeah,
We
this
don't know.
is-
Nobody even knows how long it's going to be. So I'm not going to avoid living my life at this period of time. You're not going to see me out at the clubs.
Well, they're not even open, so
They were up until today.
Yeah, now they're not.
Every one of my friends hit me up all weekend long. Hey, we got the weekend off. It's party time. Well, you guys are out of your mind.
Businesses, they're going to only last a month. They're going to be like, we can't do this anymore. We're going to go
Right.
under. We got to have business. We
Right.
got to open up again.
And what do you do? And what's the government do about that?
Facebook
Yeah.
just did like $100 million or $100 billion grants that they're giving out to small businesses.
Really?
So basically, businesses could get a grant about $3,000.
See, and you know
Try
what?
to help them out.
Yeah, if it gets to the point though,
I mean, $3,000 wouldn't last my
yeah,
business.
right. I mean,
know,
that's
right?
that's a day's worth of gross income, for some businesses.
Right.
And the truth of it is, they'll probably have to get the military involved to stop businesses from going back and functioning. I mean, it's going to get to that point unless they own the building, unless they're secure enough that they can allow their profit margin to disappear for that month. I mean,
There's no such thing.
yeah, I mean, it's just not going to happen.
There's no such thing unless you're. I mean, very little.
Unless it's
Very little.
family owned, like
Very
in New
little.
York, where you've had
Even
family
then-
owning this for
Even then,
6
the rent,
years.
The rent is so ridiculous
Yeah.
on all these
Yeah.
places.
Well, they
and
would have to own their
overhead
own
is so
building.
high, and
Yeah,
everything is just. I mean, you can't afford to not be open. That's why
Yeah.
do you think they're open every day? Why do you think they have happy hours every day? Right?
Well,
I mean,
it's too few people trying to help. I think I read somewhere in New York, one landlord said he wasn't going to charge his tenants rent for April.
bless his heart.
So, they're
That's
trying
really-
to lower mortgage rates and interest rates and all that
They
stuff
dropped those
too.
down to zero, by the
Yeah,
way.
the interest.
Yeah.
So if anybody's looking to buy a home, now's the time to do it.
That's
I'm
what
gonna
I
tell you
was
that
telling
right
everybody.
now.
zero.
You get
Do
it
it
at
right
zero.
now.
I'm thinking about buying another one and renting it
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
because you got zero on it.
Will
I
they
mean, you're
keep it at
signed in
zero, though?
You're signed in at zero.
Yep.
They're going to sign at
You
zero.
have to.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
I mean, I'm
wow.
sure that they have written in there that it'll go up with with the times and make it even to whatever the Fed says it is supposed to
But
be.
that 0%
But the
is
Fed
major.
can't. The Fed can't go from 0 to 5, right? I mean, you can't. They can't do
That's
that.
too big,
right?
yeah,
They got to
yeah.
go from 0, and then they got to
Point
to
one.
0.5, and then to 1, and then to 1 point. And
Yeah.
even then, you're still winning, right? You're always winning.
Yeah,
at
that's
that
true.
point.
You at
And
least
the
get
same
a
thing with the market. A lot of people talking about the market. A lot of people upset about how the market dropped. This and this. Believe me, I lost a boatload of money.
You know what? I invested. I had money saved.
But
I
now
invested.
you buy.
Yeah, I bought.
Right.
I found a good stock, and I'm just like, here, let's
I
do
bought
this.
too. I bought on yesterday.
Yeah.
Friday.
This is the most predictable stock market crash that one could ever have.
Sure.
You know, and as long as this, you know, this is going to recuperate, and it's going to come back. I mean,
he put money into the stock market. Trump did. He said he put like $1 trillion of reserved money into the stock market.
Yeah, they released $1 trillion to be able to fund some of the federal programs that they're doing. So they printed $1 trillion. You know,
wow!
Yeah, so
they printed $1 trillion.
They allocated it.
Okay.
They allocated it, so which means that
but if they printed money, then our dollar devalues, doesn't it?
right. So they allocate it. So what they do is they release it over time, so that way when you don't really see the difference too much. But the problem is we're not going to see much of a difference anyways because we're not on the gold standard anymore. So we're on separate. We're on a separate standard. So the standard really has to do with the world markets, and all the world's markets are down anyways. So the pound is down, the sterling is down, or any of that stuff is all they're all down. So you can't. If we go down or we go, you know, it's the same thing. It all equals out to be the same thing. And that's coming from a layman that, again, we are not only are we not medical professionals, we are also not stockbrokers.
I'm just going to say I'm pretty much not professional in general. I do have some professional aspect to me, but it's hidden. Well, I'm about to bring it out, actually. So I am actually a social worker working with the Spinal Cord Injury Association, and I'm a project coordinator for an opiate awareness project. You like that transition?
Definitely.
So, one thing I'd like to do is why don't we start getting into this a little bit?
All right.
So we heard your origin story, Shawn, last couple episodes. Okay. Well, actually, let's go with Brittany. Yeah. Let's start out. You know, you're the guest here. I'd love to hear your origin story, and then if you could let us know. Yeah, let's just start with your origin story. Let's go there.
Cool. I used to live in Atlanta, and I found myself at the wrong place at the wrong time one night, and me and my friends got robbed at gunpoint.
Oh.
And so I was shot with a .45 through the car, straight in through my right side. Both of my kidneys lacerated my liver and came out on my left side. So,
oh my goodness. You're lucky to be alive.
I'm very lucky to be alive. The car was riddled with bullets, and there was nowhere for me to duck, so I just took the bullet, basically.
Was this in Atlanta?
Yeah.
Georgia? Was this by the Big Chicken? I heard there's a Big Chicken there, like by Marietta.
Nope.
No, okay.
No, I was in probably a really rough. It's called the Seasons. I was in a really rough.
How far from the Buckhead?
Very far.
Oh, I like the Buckhead.
I love Buckhead. Yeah. Like I said, I wasn't in a good neighborhood. Buckhead is nice. Yeah. But yeah, we got robbed, and it was 4 of us in the car. 3 of us got shot. I was the only one to become paralyzed, and luckily my friend's boyfriend had a gun and pulled it out and shot back, and the robber took 4 shots to the chest and just collapsed and died. So,
wow.
Yeah, we definitely would have died if he wouldn't have pulled out that pistol. So,
yeah,
and it's been 10 years in the making.
So I'm guessing that you are pro gun laws.
Yes.
Even after being shot.
Yes, I go shooting. I go shooting with the Next Step Paramilitary and more. Yeah, we go shooting once a month. So, I love shooting.
Yeah. So you feel like every American should have the right to carry a gun? Obviously, other than felons and things of the sort.
Yeah, and then the one that Trump just re-signed, saying that certain disabled people can now, or people with developmental disabilities can purchase guns. Obama had signed it to where they couldn't, and then Trump just signed it now to where they can.
That is interesting.
We could go down a rabbit hole here.
We really could.
Let's. Sorry, I brought it up in the first place.
Let's.
I thought it was relevant. I thought it was a relevant question.
It's a whole nother podcast.
It's a relevant question, though.
We'll have to have you on again, Brittany.
Yeah, absolutely. At that moment, right? I mean, what were you feeling? I mean, can you give us some of like maybe your thoughts and your feelings of what you're?
Yeah, what do you remember?
Well, I felt like he was going to rob us, because he was just acting very suspect. And then when he started to shoot into the car, at the time I had a 7-month-old daughter, so that was pretty much all that I could think about. And then when I got shot, and I guess I started to faint. And I don't know, I guess my friends sped off and must have went to their parents' house, because by the time we got there, I just remember her family slapping me to like wake me up.
Yeah, you don't want to fall asleep.
Yeah, because I thought I was hit twice because it went in and came out.
Sure.
So I don't really remember experiencing much pain.
You're lucky that it was an exit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that makes a big difference too.
I'm lucky my spinal cord is intact too.
That's right.
Yep.
Yeah. So you're an incomplete.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, same here.
Incomplete. Yeah.
Yep.
Wow.
Intense. Yeah. That's very intense.
Yeah, I was 20 10 years ago.
Look.
So, man.
Blessed. You're blessed.
Yeah.
Right? We're all blessed. We're
Yeah,
all
we
blessed
are.
in this room, right?
Yeah, we are.
And a lot of people will look at us and say, "How can you say you're blessed?"
Yeah, I know. How are you even doing this every day?
I live a very happy life.
Me too. Right?
Yeah,
Me too.
I mean, this, there's no illusions. The struggle is real.
Oh yeah.
Oh
yeah.
You know the funny thing about that is, you don't hear people in our situation complaining.
Nope.
No, you
I'm just
don't.
happy to be here.
And so I've been told this.
Mm-hmm.
I've been told this by people who, who are in government and who do stuff like, for the disabilities and stuff like that. That the problem is we don't complain enough.
Mm-hmm.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
Well, maybe we need to turn that around.
I'm not a complainer.
Right.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to hear my issues and my worries, right? I mean, other than my therapist.
Yeah.
Right, and she gets paid to hear that. So, believe me, she wouldn't do it otherwise. But no, yeah, but it's true because it builds character, right? I mean, you don't understand. A lot of people want to skip through all the hard shit in life and just be happy and be successful.
Yeah.
But the
Yeah.
hard shit is what builds the character, right? It's what builds us into who we are as people, and what builds us into the fact that we can sit here right now and talk on microphones and bear our stories and tell our stories, and every day wake up, even if it's to some people would be the worst day of their life. For us, hey, it's just another day, man.
Right. And what you were addressing is more of a dualistic situation. You got to have the miserable stuff in order to understand what's good.
Oh yeah.
What makes you happy.
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes you got to understand the dynamics of that. And I mean, as kids, we're probably taught that, but until you go through the experience, then it really sinks in, I think.
To quote the great philosopher Curtis 50 Cent Jackson, sunshine wouldn't feel so good if it wasn't for rain. Joy wouldn't feel so good if it wasn't for pain.
Absolutely. Yep.
And I'm sure he didn't come up with that on his own, but it was one of his songs, so I'm going to quote it.
Right.
No, that's good.
It's a good line.
Yeah,
it's a good line.
And he finishes with, "Death's got to be easy because life is hard. It'll leave you physically, mentally, and emotionally scarred."
Yep.
I mean, that's some good
Somebody
stuff.
likes rap.
Yeah, we need to
Hey, yo.
we need to sample that.
Sample that, right? But no, it's the truth. It really is the truth, and I think that's what sets us apart, and also sets us behind in some ways too, I mean, because if we were to complain like some of the other groups of special interests, right? I mean, there's a lot of special interest groups out there, and a lot of special interest groups spend tons of money. They're vocal about what they want.
They got lobbyists.
And they get what they need.
Yep.
And we don't do that.
It's been a while since, as a group, we've organized. The ADA was the one big organizational effort that was made. And yes, we do have like Ability 360 centers and stuff like that, which are advocating agencies, but not everyone knows this.
The
It's
awareness
there's
isn't out there.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, anyone could. We're the biggest minority out there. Why we don't have more of a consortium of individuals that are like, hey, we need to move as a group, do this.
Mm-hmm.
Well, technically, we're not the biggest minority.
We're not.
No.
I thought we were.
Anything other than white or Caucasian is a minority. So.
Okay, fine.
But I will agree with you in the fact that we have enough numbers to push and move. Right.
We
can make a
We
move,
do.
but the problem is we don't have money.
Yeah,
we don't have.
But
we
with
don't
technology, we don't need.
We don't have billionaire companies worth billions of dollars that have an interest in what happens with us.
That's why we get champions like some of the people in office that have disabilities.
Yeah, like this podcast.
And this too, yeah. This is a way to get our voice out.
Get that awareness out there.
So, okay, before we go down this rabbit hole,
Yeah, we just went down. Just went down one. So you got to rein us in.
I know.
Rein us in, Kenny.
So the next thing, how did the addiction occur? What happened to bring you to that point of being addicted? Because both of you had to deal with addiction, okay? And Shawn, I remember you talking about that. Brittany, why don't you start this off, though? What were the circumstances that brought you to that, where you became addicted?
Immediately when the paramedics moved me, I started screaming because I just felt the most horrible pain in my lower extremities. So, that was neuropathy. So,
Okay.
Having neuropathy is man, that's a pain that blows me out of the water every time, and it never goes away. And they put me on fentanyl patches and methadone and Percocet, along with a whole bunch of other things like amitriptyline, just all type of things that really knocked me out. I was never awake.
I'm sorry because I want you to. I think you're skipping over some really, really heavy points right here. So, when you got in your accident, they put you on. Were you instantly on narcotics?
Yes.
Okay. What narcotics?
Fentanyl, the patch, and methadone.
So you didn't get IV?
Oh, so you got all that.
Yeah,
once.
I got all of that. When I went to the hospital, they had me on Dilaudid.
Yep.
And
I'm a Demerol guy, but
yeah.
They don't do that much anymore.
No, and I like the Dilaudid because for me, I could be awake somewhat on that, but yeah, I'm a barely 100 pounds, and to be on all of that.
Right. So you went from Dilaudid, right? When you're in the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So they have you on Dilaudid, along with other medications.
Yes.
As well, correct.
So what?
So they had you on a fentanyl patch and giving you Dilaudid shots, or was the fentanyl patch after the Dilaudid shots?
The fentanyl patch was after the Dilaudid.
Right. So when you first get admitted, they pumped you with the Dilaudid until your surgeries, until they got you in a place where they could take you off of the IV.
Yeah.
And they put you on a fentanyl patch.
Yeah.
How long were you on a fentanyl patch?
I did the fentanyl patch probably about 4 or 5 months, because I did the fentanyl patch. I had the methadone, the Percocet, and I would also get a bolus of ketamine.
Okay, so all at one time? All at once?
The ketamine, I got a bolus every 3 months.
Okay, and then is that through a pump, or did they give that through?
Yeah, that was through the IV. I would go and they would pump me with ketamine for about an hour.
Yeah, absolutely.
To try to lower the pain in my legs.
Also, it helps with psychological issues too. That's why they give that. Yeah, but go ahead.
Yeah. So
when you were on fentanyl patch, do you remember what it was? What the milligrams?
No, I don't.
No,
I don't.
So fentanyl patch. So were you taking any baclofen?
Yeah, I had
Okay.
baclofen.
So you're taking baclofen. What about so you said amitriptyline too?
Yeah, I had amitriptyline.
What about Xanaflex? Any Xanaflex?
No, I had stuff like Effexor and
Effexor and Xanaflex are almost the same thing.
Paxil and
Paxil is to help with the the other one that you were taking there. It's SSRI, I believe, right?
Yep.
Right.
Yeah, I think that's an antidepressant.
Yeah. It suppresses the emotions.
When you were in that situation, right? How did you feel? I mean, when you were at the rip, the highest rip of all of it, how'd you feel?
I felt like I was dead. I felt like I wasn't alive. My daughter was starting to walk and I was missing it. Like I said, I was barely awake. My mom would help me chew my food.
Oh, well.
Yeah,
This
the
is
medication.
while you were still in the hospital, correct?
This is after.
After?
Yeah.
So you were home.
I was home.
So you were home, and where they were giving you boluses at home?
Yeah, I would go back up to
wow.
because I was at the Shepherd Center, so I would go back up to the Shepherd Center and get my bolus of the ketamine every 3 months.
Wow.
Really? And the Shepherd
And that
Center,
and that itself was hard. They give you
That's the
I think
closest I ever came to overdose.
yeah, I think I took a Valium. They gave me a Valium, I believe, to try to help me relax, but I would hallucinate really, really bad.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I could only imagine.
Fentanyl and ketamine mix is very hallucinogenic.
Yeah.
Extremely hallucinogenic. Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
not good memories.
Did you have an overdose at any point?
No, I didn't.
Because that's a serious cocktail of stuff.
I was on a
Sure.
lot of stuff, and I'm not that big, and before I even realized that I was starting to need more and more and more and more, I was already tired of being on it.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
So you acclimated. How long did it take you to acclimate to the drugs to where you started to need more?
Probably around the 6-month mark.
Okay, so
6 months post accident.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How long were you in the hospital? 90 days, 60 days?
Yeah, 60 days.
60 days in?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, nowadays that's a long time.
Yeah.
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 I mean,
Yeah.
back in my day, they used to keep you in for a lot
Right.
longer.
Yeah, I mean, I went to a rehab hospital afterwards, too. So it was
Yeah.
amazing
Well, I
how
think
long-
Shepherd, is a rehab
Yeah.
hospital.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's up there with
Yeah.
Craig and
Okay.
some of those other hospitals.
So- When did you finally decide that you wanted to be clean?
At the year mark.
So that didn't take you long.
No,
Good for
I
you.
just
Yeah.
I was starting to try to get out on my own, and I still had a small child that I had to take care of by myself. She winded up falling off the bed, and I barely heard it because I was on the medication. And for me, that was my eye opener. I was done. And so
Wow.
I
That's a tough
literally
choice. Yeah.
stopped it. And I guess I was at risk because I started to be in even more pain, cramping, sweating.
So did you stop it on your own, or
Yeah.
see, you're supposed to
I went-
titrate off of that.
I
stuff.
went cold turkey and didn't
Oh.
know.
Yeah, that's
That's
tough. That's
So
really
then
rough.
I went to the hospital not knowing what was going on.
Feeling
that
like
I-
you were dying.
I was going through the
Cold
withdrawal
sweats, yeah.
symptoms, and
Yeah, that can be very painful.
they wanted
can
to
die
give
from
me.
it. You
Yeah,
can
that's
die
what he
from it.
said.
You can die from what you really can die from it. I think is more dehydration. Is that correct? I mean,
From the withdrawals, I mean, it's a combination of a lot of things. The body goes into a complete shock when you're going through withdrawals. So, I mean, yeah, it's a combination of different things.
yeah. I mean, it's so you could that's a deadly situation.
Yeah.
You know?
Wow.
So then you decided, then you went to the hospital. I mean, how many days did it take you? I'm going cold turkey. How many days did it take before you went to the hospital?
About 3
hours?
days.
I mean, sometimes it's
Yeah.
hours.
Yeah.
It took me about 3 days because sometimes I'm real stubborn about going to the hospital.
Me too.
So
To
I was
take that
hurting.
to take that cocktail off the menu so quick, though.
I was
mean,
hurting.
I'm amazed you lasted 3 days.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah.
It's-
It was scary.
Did the pain come back right away?
My nerve pain,
Yeah.
it never went away. Anytime I was awake, I felt it.
So literally, you were just sleeping through the pain.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
So where's
Exactly.
your nerve pain exactly located?
It's in my legs.
It's in your
both legs. Yep.
Yeah. And is it tingling, stabbing, burning? What
Yep.
is-
It's all of it. It's tingling, stabbing, burning, and then I get a
That's
shooting
tough.
pain going up my leg. Feels like somebody's hitting my knee with a bat.
Has anyone approached you about making it, instead of partial paralysis, to actually just?
That's a tough one, man.
I mean, I
You never know, like, the things that you can lose.
Yeah,
I don't.
no kidding.
I'm sorry to answer that for you. I'll
You
give
mean
a
making me
second.
all the way paralyzed so that I wouldn't go through the pain?
Yeah.
Well, I opted out to do that because I started getting feeling back and movement and
Oh, nice.
strength
Okay.
in my legs.
look-
So, and then it's crazy because it's been 10 years and I'm still getting more feeling and
Yeah.
movement back.
You know, I've had my disability since birth, and I'm still getting new feeling every year.
Mm.
So the body is an incredible, organism.
Unmatched.
Yeah, really.
Unmatched.
And, I don't know why I'm getting more feeling, but you know what? I mean, if this is where you want to go, I wasn't trying to suggest doing it. I was just, has this been in your thoughts to try?
No.
Okay. And you know what? When I was a kid, my mom said to me, she goes, if you want, we can cut your legs off because you're going to have to live with this. And I actually, I chose. She didn't say it exactly like that, by the way.
She probably did.
No, she didn't.
Hey, Eric, what do you want for dinner? By the way, we're cutting your legs off. Cool? You got that?
To make
No.
you feel better.
You know what it's going to do? Save me $50 a month on shoes, you know? Sorry.
No, that's awesome.
Just throw a little light on the dark.
Yeah, but Mom, I like wearing shoes. You never
Right.
use them.
Right?
You just drag them around.
And again, what's my theory in life? Never trust a man in a wheelchair with dirty shoes.
Yeah.
My shoes are dirty too.
That's why I don't trust
You
Jerry.
probably should trust me. You
I
probably
don't
should
trust
trust me.
Jerry.
I do shenanigans when you guys aren't around. I just walk. I just walk around
I
like
know.
no big deal.
That's what you probably we wheel out of here, and then you're like, oh god,
Oh, I can get out of this chair. Oh, I'm
These
so.
guys are gone.
Yeah, I need to stretch, do some yoga or something.
So then, as far as your recovery goes, right? You stayed clean. Any relapses?
No.
No, you stayed clean.
Wow, good for
You
you.
feel good about it. You clean off everything.
I don't take any type of narcotics. The only pill that I do take is gabapentin.
Oh,
My
okay,
doctor
so I
Which
heard,
is
makes me
very
take
needed, by the way. Very
something
needed, which
because
is very
my
acceptable.
Pain levels are so
Very
high.
acceptable.
Doesn't want me to stroke out. So
Yeah.
stroking out bad.
yeah.
Very
so
gabapentin is a very acceptable. Lyrica,
Yeah.
gabapentin,
yeah.
all
But
very
they said they're
acceptable.
gonna add gabapentin to the controlled substances
Because
list.
people
now.
are abusing people. Because if you use enough of it and you mix it with other things, you can get really high.
You know what? I had somebody accidentally take one of
I
my
see.
You guys
gabapentin
wanna
pills.
talk
You're,
about
and
this.
you're like
He had
the
to come home
chemist
from
over
work.
here, man.
Believe me, man, I've been getting high. I've been getting high for a long time.
So maybe we got to get Shawn here. So why don't you?
I don't want to. I don't want to cut her.
No. Okay. Well, let's. Oh,
I mean, if you
yeah. No. So you're on gabapentin.
Yeah, just gabapentin.
Okay.
It doesn't really help. It barely takes the edge off.
makes it just easy, just enough for you
So
to
I
get through
can
your
go.
day.
Yeah.
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 So have you tried any alternative methods at all? And if so, what have you tried?
Huh. What haven't I tried?
Okay. Meditation.
Yeah, meditate. I meditate vigorously.
Okay, now I got a specific question for this. Shawn, what the heck? You're killing me, bro.
She said I meditate vigorously.
Vigorously.
She said vigorously.
Meditating vigorously. So
Sorry, we're having a serious
yeah. Sorry. Yeah, that totally took me off.
Sorry. Bro.
So no, it's all good. With meditating, so there are many ways to meditate. To be so I'm curious. What type of meditation do you do? Can you describe that just a little bit? And is it helpful for you?
Yep. And I wake up really early in the morning, probably like 3-4 o'clock in the morning.
Is it because you can't sleep, or is it because you have to?
Because I can't sleep.
That's a problem for us, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Do you take sleep medications?
No, I don't take anything but the gabapentin.
Now, did you also know that meditation can actually make you sleep less?
Nope.
Yep, it can. If you're heightening your awareness right before you go to bed, there's kind of like a
Oh, no. See, I don't do it before bed. I do it in the morning when I first wake up.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay. So we'll cancel that one out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and I just I go to a quiet place, and for me, mind over matter has been my whole thing. It's why I'm alive. My mind has pushed me to places I did not know that I could reach. So for me, I feel like even with my pain in my mind, I must go somewhere else for me to deal with it.
Yeah.
So while I'm meditating, that's what I do. I just go somewhere else, and I visualize myself walking, running. I visualize myself, my nerves growing little by little, and I hone in on that.
You know, there's this meditation I used to do, just the 3 R's: rest, relax, regenerate.
Mm-hmm.
And it would always work good for me.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I noticed, when you tell your body, there's one thing that I used to tell people when they were getting out of bed and they had a lot of pain is talk to your body. Say, okay, body, it's time to get up. We're going to move. I want you to be prepared to do this. And I worked with some people who had chronic pain that it actually helped them because their body actually was prepared to move. It's kind of like a time delay sort of thing.
I do something like that, but I try to psych myself out of the pain. So when I'm going through an extreme pain spasm, I'll tell myself it doesn't hurt, it doesn't hurt, it doesn't hurt, it's not that bad. And I feel like it alleviates it somehow.
What's the worst, right? Like, what's the worst that can happen? That's how I sometimes think about it, right? I'm just in severe pain, and I'm like, it's just pain. What's the worst that can happen, right?
So there's a couple things about pain that I know. If your mind anticipates pain, it can actually make the pain worse. And the other thing I know about pain,
that's a 100% fact.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, it's absolutely, studies have been done. It's
100%.
This is I'm putting on my professional hat when I say that. The other thing that I know about pain is, what was it? Shoot. Late at night, been up all day.
Yeah. What you just said for pain for me, late at night, by time evening hits, pain for me is 10 times worse than what it was.
Oh, so
during the day.
I accidentally went there, but what I was trying to say is this. So Jon Kabat-Zinn, he is the Western yoga meditation guru in clinical settings right now. And he's been around for a little while. He used to work at Boston, Massachusetts hospital. I forget what the name of it is. But anyways, they'd send people who had chronic pain to him. And his whole meditation routine, mindfulness meditation, was instead of pushing pain away, which is something that we naturally do. We're going to push this away. This is going to exist over here on this island. And it'll be there, but I'm going to exist over here because I need to be free of this for a while, okay? One of the things he would do is he would say, okay, instead of doing that, what we're going to do is we're going to embrace it. And you actually might feel more pain when you embrace it, but what the mind does is the mind will start to adjust around that scenario because your mind will actually map it out. And then your mind will map out around the pain. And then eventually it'll start working to where you may have less pain. Now, he had about a 40% success rate with that, which is actually pretty high. Not everyone was able to benefit, but 40%. And I mean, we're talking people who, you know,
I wish I was part of that 40%.
well, you know what, and we, you know, maybe,
You know?
yeah, you know, and you know, I'm not saying that it would work, but it's
Sure.
just this is something that they do have a lot of research behind, but I don't know that they look at some of this chronic pain that is going on, you know. So anyways, I just wanted to bring that up.
You know what I want to say? I think I want to ask you this question before I assume, because it's not good to assume. So you never abused what you consider abused, or what anybody would consider abused, the pain meds that you got, right?
I did. I was taking more than what was prescribed. I felt like what I was getting, it started to work less and less.
Sure.
And then I started to go to the hospitals wanting to get the Dilaudid shot.
Sure.
And then, you know, that was just way too much.
And it becomes
Yeah.
a cycle, right?
Yeah, it does.
So in your process of being clean, what are some of the tools that you use to make sure that, I mean, because obviously what you said, you live in tremendous pain every day,
Mm-hmm.
like myself. What are some of the tools that you use to say, man, you know, because it would be so easy just to take a pill or go to the hospital and get a shot, right?
I
mean,
literally will get mad if I have to take any type of pain medication whenever I go to the hospital, because my greatest inspiration I look at and take care of every single day. So my constant reminder is my daughter. So getting her up and dressed, I don't think about taking any pills or even wanting to, because I know that I'm living for me and living, you know, for her. So
That's inspiring.
good for
that's
you.
that's my biggest thing.
Yeah, that's
Good for you.
inspiring. I like that. That's really
Good
neat.
for you.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
What else besides the meditation then?
I meditate. I've done acupuncture a couple of times. What I just like to do is I like to do other things that will distract me from my pain. Even when I'm in like the worst pain, when it's raining and storming, I like to go out and go shopping, because it gets me distracted from just sitting in the house, sitting in pain. And by the time I do that, I'm feeling a lot better.
You know, I got a guy who, you know, I got a guy. There's acupuncturists, and then there's this guy. He's that good. He's here in Phoenix, Jose Montoya. And, you know, it took me a while for my friend to get me to go, but I'm telling you, this guy is phenomenal. He's really hooked in and really does a great job with what he does. And I've had some interesting things happen with my legs. He's affordable. And I mean, this guy's he's just a good guy. He's just a really good guy. I would refer anyone to this guy. I really would. He's really that good. So if you want, I can give you this information after we're done with the show. And if anyone listening to this wants to look him up, it's just Jose Montoya. Let's
get him in.
Yeah. No, you know what? I plan on getting
Let's
him
get
in.
him in.
Yeah.
By the way, Brittany, thank you so much for being honest about this stuff. I mean, this stuff's not easy to talk about.
No, it's not. And I don't really remember talking about it much to friends and family, but once you can get it out and get it out there, it feels pretty good. And you just hope that, you know, somebody will receive the positive and the optimistic message that I'm trying to send.
Absolutely.
Well, you know, one thing to realize too, I mean, the medical standard here is to give you this medication.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that is the medical standard.
Yeah.
So it's not like you went out of your way to really be put into this position.
Right.
You were put into this position, and then because it only takes a week to get addicted.
Right.
It really does. And so
Took 15 seconds for me to get addicted.
yeah, right? And you know, if you don't have an addictive personality, then neurologically in a week you could.
Yeah.
Because your body
wants
be
it. Addicted, but not your mind.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And then you got some people whose minds actually are an addictive personality as well.
Mm-hmm.
So that becomes a double dose right there,
Mm-hmm.
right? On that note,
we are well past an hour.
Yeah.
Do we want to just pull a part 2 on this?
We should. Brittany, would you be willing to come in for another episode with
Definitely.
us, and we'll talk a little bit more about some stuff?
Pull a part 2, to be continued action.
Okay, yeah, let's do that. Let's to be continued it, and
because I don't want to get into mine. Mine's going to take longer than 10 minutes for sure. I mean,
well, I thought it was only going to take 5 to tell you the truth, but I guess that's not going to happen.
Wrap it up.
Well past 5 minutes.
I thought you were just going to be like, yeah, that happened, and I did this, and I'm done. Yeah.
No. Yeah, I think we should just pull apart too. I think we should make this an ongoing thing that we do, and when we find people who have this kind of struggle and this kind of issues in their lives, I mean, because we're in a state of epidemic right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
But we're also still in the state of the opiate epidemic.
Well,
it never left.
Well,
it's still here. It's still full effect. There's people using all day, every day. There's people buying off the streets. There's people doing everything. I mean, it is full on, 100% still there.
So one of the comments I wanted to make on this, one of the reasons why we our organization, Arizona Spinal Cord Injury Association.
What was that again?
The Arizona Spinal Cord
Spinal cord?
Dang it. The Arizona Spinal Cord Injury Association. Yes, it's a mouthful.
Which you can reach at azspinal.org.
That's right. We actually got a grant from the state, and we're working with the state because there is not a full spectrum of care. So normally if someone has an addiction to an opiate, they would have access to treatment, inpatient, outpatient. They would have all these different things available to them. And I can tell you, this is a national issue. This is not just a state issue, where if a person has a high-level disability that requires skilled nursing or a caregiver, almost all the rehab places are saying, nope, we can't do it, or they're not accessible, or there's not a ton of regulations going on there, or the conversation hasn't been changed. So one of the things we're doing here at the organization is we're changing the conversation. Is what we're doing. We're changing the way people are looking at people with high level disabilities, and it's really something that's needed, because you shouldn't have to do this alone. You shouldn't have to feel like you're all by yourself fighting the world just to recuperate from something that you were put into.
Right.
And it's an issue. It's a very big issue. And so we are making some progress there, and we do have some resources on our website. So check us out at azspinal.org.
Brittany, I have a question. When you were trying to quit or get off of the narcotics, do you feel like your doctors were supportive of that?
No.
They weren't?
No. Okay. My doctors still aren't they're still not supportive of me not being on it. I actually just went through the whole thing of going to pain management and trying to figure out if there was something new that I could be on. And basically I've been on everything, including different, things that you can have to where the pumps and stuff like that. So, no, when I went to the hospital, they wanted to give me Percocet to try to help wean me off, but I refused that. And even now my doctor still is like, are you sure you don't want any pain medicine?
No, I'm stating this because I tried it today with someone I work with that has back pain.
You're going to sell us on something right now.
I'm going to sell you on something.
Just so everybody knows, this is an ad.
This has now become an ad.
I'm just kidding.
Yes, this is Eric Kenning. I'm coming to you live with the Alpha Stim-M product. It's there out there for you guys. Now, this thing is wonderful. It's an electrostimulus product that you can use to help alleviate pain and help you feel better. So
I used to use one. I actually used to use one.
Did you?
Many years ago. no, I bet you they're fantastic. I haven't used one in years.
I tried one. I tried it today. It was interesting.
I used one many years ago, and to be honest with you, I used to put them on. I used to put the pads on, the pain spots, and then turn it on really low, and then wear it when I slept all night.
Mm-hmm.
Did you notice anything?
A ton. It was
it helped.
I mean, I don't know. It could have been that, or it could have been the Oxy 30s that I was snorting every morning at 7 in the morning.
Oh, well, you know,
right? I mean, who really knows? But I'm gonna tell you, to be honest with you, I do believe in those. I do believe that a lot of the pain that we have is from lack of use of the muscles and the atrophy of the muscles that we have.
Well,
right.
That we're not using.
I think it actually gets programmed too, kind of our neurologically, because like I've been meditating for a long time, and I can tell you I do not respond neurologically the same way as I did when I did not meditate.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I know things are different. In fact, there was an experiment they were doing for physical therapy experiment on startle response. And they did it at ASU at the physical therapy department. And it was interesting because most people, when they would be startled, their whole, they would measure this global response across the body. And I've been meditating a long time, and I did not have global response. I had isolated responses. So it was very different. And I could identify those isolated responses. Shawn, what the heck?
What?
You're going to say something. I can just see it on your face,
No,
man.
I'm not. Go ahead, finish.
I mean, he's smiling, people. So I know some shenanigans are coming my way. So anyway.
No, I didn't. Look, you.
No,
that's all on you right there.
I can only imagine.
That's all on
I
you.
can only
I didn't
imagine.
say a word. All I did was
You don't have to anymore, man. I know.
I didn't say a word. That one was on you there, bud.
So one of the things that I was getting to is we might want to try this. It's just...
It's worth a shot.
Yeah, yeah. The thing is, so...
I just started acupuncture. I was telling him earlier.
Yeah.
I was telling him earlier, the nurse who works for me does acupuncture. She gave me one of the electrical stim acupuncture pins, and I just started using it, and I'm using it a little bit differently. I'm using it to stimulate bowel things, to stimulate the bowel program and make sure that my bowel program is even and on the same time every day. But you can use it for so many things, right? I mean, don't do that. That's faux
Sorry,
pas.
talking about your bowel made me sleepy.
She's falling asleep to your bowel story.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
I think that probably about wraps it up.
Yeah. We're losing people here.
No.
I have one more question for you here. Do you use cannabis at all?
Yeah.
Okay.
But how does it work for you?
It doesn't really work 100%. It's like you have to really, really know what you're doing and really know what you're getting. So just regular stuff doesn't really help. Usually trying to get some type of concentrated, really strong edible. Spent like $75 on a chocolate bar, and that really helped.
That's an expensive chocolate bar. Holy cow.
And I mean, it helped.
Now, do you get the kind that affects the body the most?
Yes.
Like the body?
Yeah.
The body stuff?
Usually try to ask for stuff that they would recommend for the cancer patients that are in a lot of pain and stuff. So
yeah.
I usually try to get that stuff.
So I tried one of those very expensive edibles, and it was an indica, which I prefer for sure, because we have body pains.
We need
have
that
all
indica.
Yeah.
We're not just we're not trying. And again, I usually only smoke at night or whatever. But I took one of those, and I tell you where, it was Viagra 2.0.
Really?
Swear to God. And the worst part about it was I was in a car riding home from Vegas, and my mom was in the front seat. And so the whole time I'm like, holy goodness, what is going on right now? Absolutely terrible experience for me.
It hits you in waves, too.
I love telling everybody my terrible experiences in life. But I think they get a chuckle out of them. But I'll tell you, anybody out there who's having issues, maybe, right? High level, concentrate, edibles, for me, full sale.
Really?
Yeah.
So that it works for you.
Full sale.
All right. Now, just to reinstate,
Just to move off that subject.
These two people, they do have their medical marijuana cards
Yes.
here in Arizona.
yeah,
They're
sure.
completely legal.
Yeah, that's what you're saying, yeah.
And
No, I'm just kidding. I do.
I would imagine you guys got to.
We're
Pretty
legal.
easy to get.
Yeah. It is. I mean,
think
really.
your daughter could probably get one if she went back to referrals.
If she was in Cali, she wouldn't need one.
Yeah, right. Or Vegas, for that matter.
yeah, Vegas. That's where I just got back from.
Yeah.
I
Vegas
brought
just
mine
closed
back.
down, by the way.
Yeah, I brought mine back from there.
Can you imagine the amount of money they are losing per?
But look,
Hour.
hey, but guess
Yeah.
who does not feel bad for them?
Yeah, I don't.
This guy.
Yeah.
And people that can't hear or see, they can hear, but they can't see. I'm pointing at myself. This guy doesn't feel bad at all. I don't feel bad at all for them. You know, I mean, because you know who I feel bad for are the people who are working the service industry. The people who cannot afford to not go to work one night and make $50 to $60 to $100 to pay the rent.
What are they
that
doing?
night off tips. What are you going to do for them?
Yeah.
Somebody's got to step up. And if anybody's listening to this, I know there's a couple of city councilmen that listen. If you're listening, you got to please help them. Please do something.
Yep.
Please push something forward, because if you're going to mandatory or even say we have to not be there or close things down or all these things, now you're saying that people can't earn an income.
Yeah, people are going to go bankrupt.
And that's just not fair.
Yeah, that's
not
just
fair.
It's a nightmare. It's just a nightmare, you know. So, well, on that note, everyone, you know, first of all, Brittany, I really appreciate it. Thank you
so
for
much.
coming on
Thanks
the show.
for inviting me.
You're bearing your heart. You answered our questions. You're willing to come back again. Now, if you go away tonight and you think about it and you're like, oh God, I'm not going to do that again, you know, let me know. But as far as I'm concerned, you need to come back. We need to talk about this more.
You know what? I'm an open book. If it helps bring more awareness, if it helps somebody in the community, you know, I'm in the right place. So,
well, you know, the thing is, everyone who gets an injury, they're going to go along somewhat of this curve.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's just going to happen. So, all right. Well, everyone, I tell you what, it's time to wrap this up. I apologize, Nina. We're not going to be doing comments today, but
That's
maybe we'll
okay.
catch them next time.
Yeah, I just wanted to tell you, Brittany, we got to have you back, even besides the opiate stuff, just for a female perspective, because we have a lot of testosterone in this room usually.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Eric doesn't have testosterone.
Well, you have enough to go around for everybody. So, but yeah, we definitely need a woman's perspective for a lot of the things that we talk about, and I think it would be great to have you on again, even just besides the opiate stuff. So
Yeah. We'll get you on.
Amen.
10 years in the game, I got a little
10
knowledge.
years in the game.
Yep.
10 years. Hey, look, you're a vet. You're earning vet pay.
I know, a
That's
decade.
vet pay.
Woo!
You know what we
Vince
should do?
Carter style. Vet pay, right?
We should
Making that
maybe we should do an
2.4.
all-female podcast.
What are me and you going to do?
We'll just
Watch?
You can work for us.
maybe, yeah. I don't know.
I'm
You
with
can
it,
work
though.
for us.
It
We'll
was
find you
it was an
something to do.
idea.
Look, every idea is a good idea.
Oh, yeah.
Right? It's just how you execute.
Right. Well, maybe what we do is we get like 3 women on mics
I'm with it.
and Shawn there.
I'm good.
Could you manage that?
That much estrogen with me is
Like Shawn.
probably not a good idea. Listen, shut your mouth. Shut your mouth. Shut your mouth. Do me. Shh. You be shushing me the whole time. Shh. Shh. Sorry. I'm out of it.
Yeah.
I'm out of it. I am. But look, we do appreciate it, and we appreciate everybody who listens. Again, if you would do us a huge favor and just hit subscribe, hit like, hit comment, send us any questions. Look, Brittany's willing to answer questions. You
Yep.
see this on the YouTube, send questions. We'll send them over to Brittany. She'll answer any questions you got.
Oh, yeah.
Episode 2, I'll talk about my story.
Yep.
We'll get into it. Look, I mean, this is a big deal.
It's a huge deal.
More than
Huge deal.
one episode deal. You know.
Oh yeah, we're going to be doing this for
I
a while.
wanted to 100% give you your due, your time to be able to tell your story, because your story is very important. And your story, it could touch a lot of people.
Yep, absolutely.
And that's good. Thank you for coming in. Yep. We appreciate it. Eric, we always appreciate you working the board over there, handling business. Woo-hoo. Nina, sorry we couldn't get to the questions, but we appreciate your questions that you asked. Brittany Johnson, everybody. Miss Congeniality 2020.
Woo!
Fantastic. She's doing great things out here. She's being a productive member of society and being fantastic in the process. You can find us on YouTube, on Spotify, on iTunes, at azspinal.org/podcast. You can call Eric at 602-507-4209, azspinal.org. And guess what? Until next week, just keep